When's the sequel?
I think it might happen.
Obviously, thank you both for joining me. This has been a very fun journey in the vertical short space, and everybody has been so just welcoming, and just the feedback from all my conversations have been amazing. So I'm really happy that you two are here, that we can keep talking about all the things.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Of
Yeah,
course.
we're
It's
so
always great
excited.
to see kind of the other side of everything. Obviously, we've got the acting perspective. So, from the writing, producing, and directing perspective, I got a bunch of questions from people. So, if you want to get started, we can just kind of dive right into the madness.
Yeah.
All right. So, obviously, to kick it off, perhaps each of you can kind of just briefly tell us about yourselves, how you two kind of connected, and where the birth of, Vertical Sunsets came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead. Kate can kick us off.
Okay. So Chrissy and I met about 5 years almost exactly. Well, a couple months, it'll be 5 years. We met in a directing fellowship together, and it was a brief but fun time, and we hit it off and we kept in touch. And fast forward to May 2024, and Chrissy booked her first vertical directing job and reached out to me, and I came on as her script supervisor. It was both of our first times working on a vertical set. We had a fantastic time, and history was made. We kept working together. We traveled to Canada a couple of times. We went to
Mhm.
China and just really fell in love with the vertical space and wanted to write our own stories. At that point, we were just working on other people's scripts
Mhm.
for other platforms. And yeah, we started pitching ideas to each other and working on ideas together. And we're lucky enough to find an amazing client in drama shorts. And we've partnered with them. And there's lots more to fill in, but like that's essentially it.
Yeah.
The base of it all, right?
No, that's pretty much it. I would say that I've had, writing partners in the past, but in this world and in this time, Kate and I like can really gel, especially with knowing like, the fast tempo and like all the salacious beats, and we find writing together in this space really fun. So I think that is a really key point in our partnership. She is so my work wife. No.
Yes. We all need to have one or two of those, right? And what does the co-writing process like actually look like? Are you guys building scenes together in real time? Are you like rewriting each other's kind of ideas? Like what's kind of the process of that?
Well, the
So
most
I
fun
I
way
sit
and the
under
way, oh,
oh.
sorry, go ahead, Chrissy. You go
I
ahead.
sit I sit underneath Kate's desk and
Yeah.
she whips me.
You're like, wait,
No,
oh, gotta
no,
rewrite that.
no.
We do
I'm,
have
I'm,
a
I'm
really fun photo that Chrissy took because we do a lot of writing on Zoom, even though we're in the same city. It's just easier to roll out of bed and hop on Zoom. So we do have a really funny photo of like our heads kind of merged together. It's a visual representation of how we work. But yeah, when we have more time, when we're not either, because we do direct and produce as well. So sometimes we do have to kind of branch off a little bit, but our favorite way to write is to just start on Zoom at like 9 a.m. Chrissy always tries to get me to start earlier, but I'm the night owl. She's the early morning. We hop on
Mhm.
Zoom, and just for like 8 hours, we just start breaking story and throwing spaghetti at the wall
Mhm.
and laughing and giggling and having a good time. And from there, we just iterate and polish and yeah, eventually when we get to the script writing, so that we start with outlines. We we do a few passes of an outline. But once we get to the script writing process, then we generally do write separately where she'll take a chunk of episodes, I'll take a chunk of episodes. depending on who's directing, they will go back and kind of do like a refine pass. But we do a lot of it literally together at the same time, like coming up with the creation of the story when we're able to. There's,
Yeah,
you know, that's our favorite way
Yeah. Yeah.
together.
I mean, it's so I think most recently we've just because we've been so busy, we will like take a stab and like the lead on one outline and then we'll just kind of like pass it off to each other. And then yeah, I think this is the first time we've done that, right? With our last script. You took
We
the
had to
lead
do
on the
we had to
outline
do
and
a little
then
bit on our sessions or the Billionaire Sex Addict because you were working on another project, but
oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the outlining process. But yeah, it just really depends on what's going on with production. Um, but yeah, this last one, um, yeah, we've had to split up a little bit more. So it's bittersweet. We're happy to be busy, but sad that we
Like,
don't get to hang out on Zoom for 8 hours a day.
oh, we'll have to bring it back at some point. Obviously, it's great that you each are doing your own thing, but what's kind of like the timeline? Like, how quickly do you guys have to write these stories? And like, once you get the green light, like, what's the time frame of shooting and it getting out into the world? Because it's obviously different than more longer form.
From conception to actual product, it takes about 3.5 months. So we will get the prompt. Then we will, I mean, if we're not doing anything else, we like to have a month from, talking about the prompt and then doing an outline and then, going into pages. And within that month, we're going back and forth with the platform to get client notes. And so, just to make sure that we're executing their vision. And then, they're giving us some creative freedom, which is a really nice balance between the two. And then from there, we will start our pre-production. So we will start casting, we'll start location scouting, hiring all of our department heads, and getting into the nitty-gritty of that. And that takes about 3 weeks, I'd say. 4 weeks if we're lucky, but usually like a good 3 weeks. And then we shoot anywhere from 7 to 9 days. And then from there, we have about 4 weeks, 5 weeks of post.
That's super quick. Well, do you
Yeah.
guys feel like
Yeah.
more pressure or like what's kind of the vibe in terms of like having to turn it out so quickly? I mean, that's a very short time frame to put out content.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean there's pros and cons. It's lovely to know that basically I would say 99% of what we write is greenlit. So we know from the start that this is a story that the client believes in and is looking for. So we there's not usually a question about that. Um, it would be nice to sleep more to fit more massages into our lives, for sure. But we love what we do, so we like to stay busy and yeah. I mean, we feel the pressure in a good way mostly, I would say. Like we just want to make something really wonderful that the audience loves, that the client's proud of, that we're proud of. Um, and we have a pretty amazing team, so that's what allows us to do what we do so quickly.
I also wanted to add that I like the pacing. Like I really do like how fast the turnover is, just because, in traditional media, everything takes so long. You have to wait until you have to get greenlit. Development takes long. And so with us, I mean, I think there's this, I mean, it's the brand of verticals, right? The vertical world, we have this instant gratification of, all right, here's a prompt. Okay, here's the challenge of getting a great story together. Okay, let's shoot it. Okay, let's package it up. And then it's out to the audience, to the world in a matter of day from when we deliver it to the platform, it's out in 24 hours. So I think that, that process is it's exciting and it's really satisfactory
Mm.
to just like this like indie filmmaker that's always, just wanted to get things made and now we get to see it how many times a year. So
Mhm.
that's a big plus for us.
And is it always prompts, or are you able to go to the client with ideas that you guys have had?
It's mostly prompts, but we have pitched some original ideas and we have been encouraged and invited to pitch more in the future. But
Awesome.
yeah, I would say predominantly we get the ideas from the client, but we call them prompts because there's still a lot of story that we need to create
Yeah, of
before they tell
course.
us like genre and a general idea of what they're looking for.
It's always a stepping stone, and you guys are obviously the ones that are building out these characters and the depth and the storyline. And for people, kind of including myself, I mean, I had no idea really what vertical dramas were until I kind of stumbled on my sexy mentor with all the ads. So clearly, they're doing their job. What's your kind of welcome note to people just finding this space through your work?
Yeah, that's a good one. Don't be afraid by the title or have the, just like I think a lot of people from the traditional world, like media world,
Hmm.
might find, the titles if they're not used to the vertical shows. I think that, they might just judge the title a little bit, but people that are vertical fans and like that's what they know, I think it's beneficial on that end. But I feel like get ready to buckle up for what, 90 minutes of your time because I mean, I feel like, our shows are they're pretty fun. And we have a challenge of engaging the audience in the first 5 seconds. And I think that Kate and I like to find some creative ways to do that with what that's not in voiceover or that's not in a slap or anything.
Hmm.
We'd like to really build the world and characters as quickly as possible. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're just trying to create a fun, safe, sexy space in Vertical Land for the audience. Um, we love the medium. We love the speed and the format and a lot of the tropes. And uh, as fans ourselves, we just want to create like really good, nuanced stories. So I think welcome to Verticals. There's lots more to
Welcome.
come.
Yes. And I mean my girlfriend obviously when I was doing all this stuff with Alyssa and Eloise, she was just like, what are you doing? Like she was very because she's more like not old school, but she's very timid and she's older, so she's a little more conservative with her stuff. So she's just like, "What are you watching? What are you doing?" So I'm just like, "Listen, you have to watch it and then actually just like see what you think about it." So last weekend, she was like, "All right, put it on. Let's watch it." So I put it on. Watched the whole thing, and then she's like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. Like, is there going to be more? And I'm like, I don't know. So she's like, I'm sold now. And I was like, all right, see if I can get you like on board. I feel like a lot of other people who are a little more shy could definitely get on board with this. Approved.
That's the highest compliment. Yeah, we try to, like I said, we try to keep it fun and sexy, but always with an eye to story and creating authentic characters.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the vertical kind of storytelling, scene is often dismissed as, quick content or not of high quality. Like, but this obviously, my sexy mentor feels very intentional. What do you think people are getting wrong about this format? Like, what would you tell people who have that idea of like, hey, this isn't, this is more salacious or not pure content?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a new space, and so people are still exploring it. And I think how people feel about verticals isn't necessarily wrong. There's a wide variety of quality and content out there. I mean,
Hmm.
there's 300 apps or something like that. So it's just like any other movie or television show. Like there's a wide range. But we just really try to focus on high quality and good storytelling and like to surprise people that maybe have um, put pigeonholed verticals in a certain box.
Hmm. Did you have anything else, Chrissy? I don't want to neglect you over there.
Oh, no,
We're not putting you under the desk.
no. Please, please, it's okay. I
She's
like being
always
under
on
the
my
desk.
shoulders.
Yeah.
She's like, I like this space. We're good. Um,
No, yeah, I think yeah. I think like Kate said, the space is really evolving. And I think that as more creators come into the space, that see the opportunity to, not necessarily make it, television like or, traditional media like, but I think that, when you, I guess like, okay, the process of when you first go into vertical land as a director, I think there's a lot of things that like go out the window. Like you have to be resourceful, but there's low budgets. But then the more that you like really fall in love with the space and you see it more for than just watching it on a small screen on your phone, and
yeah,
you see the possibilities of we can do a oneer, we can get a gimbal or all those things. Like I think that
mm,
there's a lot of cool magic to be made still, visually in
of
this space.
course. And I mean, since it's something that people can obviously consume, do you consume quickly or regularly? Do you feel like you guys have gotten more feedback from people who have like found you through these vertical stories?
Yeah, I think so. I did a talk a few days ago and I kind of likened it to um almost like sketch comedy shows or something where you get immediate audience feedback
Hmm.
because we move so quickly and there's such high interaction with the fans. I mean, the reviewers, the fans, we see their comments and their reviews online very quickly. And so it helps us understand what they're taking away from the stories, what they're looking for. Um, yeah, I think it's great. You don't always get that in a different kind of medium because if you're in a theater with an audience seeing your work, you get a handful of people, but this is worldwide and so broad. So I we really love it. We love to hear from the fans, good and bad. We like to know everything. We want to be better, make better content all the time. So
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
And
is
I
it kind
think
of like a double-edged sword? Do you kind of take the good with the bad, and do you bring that with you moving forward?
I mean, luckily we haven't seen anything
Too
super
much.
hurtful. Like
Yep.
everybody
yeah.
has their opinion and we're fans too. We have a lot of opinions, so we
Hmm.
totally understand and respect that. Um but yeah, but like for instance with My Sexy Mentor, like hearing the audience response and how interested in a continuing story they are, like that has really been um not only flattering but also given us ideas for
Hmm.
hopefully the future. Um but yeah, critique is always can always be a little bit tricky, but we welcome it. We're here to serve.
Yeah. And it is really nice to get that feedback and know that, oh, what a lot of fans are putting out there and saying is really shaping the way that we are, telling our stories and, the types of stories that are giving us permission to be told. We really didn't know that there was a huge audience for a lot of these queer stories. I know that like boy love stories were doing really well, but the
Hmm.
fact that, I think this is one of the first woman love stories on drama shorts. So it was received so well, So, I mean, I think with any genre in the vertical space, it is a gamble, like um, a lot of what we do depends on data, versus any
Hmm.
above anything else. So just having the fans come through and really start a conversation about, Birdie and Vera's, backstory and like where they see the future going. And it was really cool. It was really, really cool to see.
Yeah. And now I know Alyssa had mentioned during her interview that obviously you kind of shoot and shoot the scenes or whatever, and then you kind of don't really know what the end product is good and be because obviously, the client could, want it to go a certain way. And now I obviously I watched it a while back and then I rewatched it with my girlfriend and I did notice there was some things missing from the more recent iteration in terms of just the more like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like Vera's fantasies or her visions of her and Birdie. So kind of to you guys, is that like out of your hands? Is it something where they're just kind of re trying to pull people in and not show too much, or that was kind of my idea of like, oh, they don't want to give too much away like throughout the story and have that right in the beginning. But I just was like, let me ask them.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
be
we
honest, we don't know.
yeah, no idea. Yeah,
We,
that's not us.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's the
we,
platform and we have no idea why that happens. But yeah, we've heard that before. So
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I
they're
went to
probably just like
rewatch a
this.
couple episodes and was surprised myself. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, we don't have any answers on that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's okay. I figured I chalked it up to just the buildup of them not wanting to kind of show that connection. It just makes, obviously, when they do get together, spoiler alert, more satisfying. It's interesting, though, that it's kind of out of your hands and you have to just be like, oh, this is my baby, but it's not my baby anymore. I have to just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, I think we care about these very much and we put our heart and soul into them. But much like a Hollywood studio, the directors very rarely get final cut.
Hmm.
Um, we feel very, very lucky that we have as much input as we get. We have a great partnership with Drama Shorts, and yeah, we can't say enough good things about them. But at the end of the day, they are our client, and we do what they ask.
Yeah, you want to satisfy them, that's for sure, because we want them to continue to making things that you guys write and produce and direct. And obviously, with my sexy mentor, what was the biggest theme or idea that you really wanted to explore that you're like, this needs to be the central, theme going throughout the whole series?
Hmm.
I'm
Um,
waiting for Chrissy.
okay.
I'm waiting
She's
for Chrissy.
marinating.
Yeah, well, I think, being a queer woman myself, I felt that, I wanted to make the struggles and the nuances of a lesbian dynamic as authentic as possible as we could in a vertical soap opera land.
Hmm.
So I wanted to really make sure that like the natural themes and, Kate can agree or disagree with me. I think we were both on the same page of making it authentic no matter what. But the themes of what it's like to be closeted or be closeted and also have this sexual awakening or like this kind of empowered um rebellion that's all tied up into one thing. And so I think that first off, like a lot of the shows that we do make have to deal with forbidden love.
Hmm.
So, naturally it falls in this lesbian love story of a woman that has predominantly been in the spotlight, known as maybe a straight woman, and has never really found authentic, real love and maybe like the certain pleasures that she has around Vera. So we
Hmm.
wanted to make sure that that felt really organic and authentic, and the struggle felt real, and also paired with Birdie's getting pushed out of the spotlight, I mean, yes, she's 40. I'm 40. I don't feel old, but like in societal terms and this theater world, she is getting pushed out of this limelight. And so it's a very complex situation. But yeah, what else do you
Yeah,
want to add?
we always want nuanced characters, whether they're our heroes or our villains. We really care about nuance and authenticity. I think another big theme that we played with was the idea of how control affects your life. You know, Birdie is dominating Vera in the way of trying to mentor her, but then also revisiting how she'd been dominated and mentored um by her husband. So yeah, it was a lot of fun layers. but also just having like that true, like authentic love come through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the challenge though too when you throw the BDSM element into a love story is how do you really make that warranted or
Hmm.
motivated? Um, so I think that was like a really good challenge, that you have like this age dynamic, you have this power struggle, and then you have like this forbidden love that really made this alchemy of not only like a really emotional, connection between two women, but like a really lascivious, visceral, physical connection as well.
And there's kind of this like fascinating contrast where, Birdie holds obviously physical dominance, but Vera feels more emotionally and sexually self-assured. How kind of intentional was that inversion of like trying to kind of flip-flop the roles, even though she was more of like the sub and obviously Birdie was more of the dom?
Yeah, it was very intentional. We
Mhm.
wanted to make sure that we had like both characters had something to learn from each other
Hmm.
and something to teach each other. And so that was part of the nuance that we wanted to layer into them. Um, yeah, because we think that that's just what makes people fall in love more
Hmm.
authentically.
I agree. Sorry, I was waiting. I didn't want to miss Chrissy with her lag. I'm like, wait,
There's
what's
just a
going
little
on?
bit of delay, so we
Yeah.
never want to cut you off,
Yeah,
Chrissy.
I'm like, we're not trying to
I
put
love
you in the
that.
corner.
I was like, wait, am I supposed to? No, but yeah, no, that's all the things. I mean, I think it's love is complex,
Mhm.
Gay love is complex. I think BDSM love is complex. So we've
Mhm.
wanted to really make sure all of those felt authentic and motivated.
Well, definitely was conveyed. I always joke with my girlfriend that she was my stalker before we started dating. So that's our origin story that she was my Twitter stalker 10 years ago.
Okay, I think we're gonna make that into a
Yeah.
vertical.
Yeah,
Love
you
Tell
that.
us
should.
more.
Yes.
Tell us
Yeah.
more.
Yes, right. We've got some ideas. But yeah, so yeah, she doesn't love that I tell that story, but I feel like it's aligns with how we met. But and then obviously were there any moments where the actors, made choices that you wouldn't have immediately told them to, and how it kind of changed you, how you saw the scene? Like how did they kind of rebel and do a scene that you didn't lay out for them?
Wow. I mean, we shot it in December, and
I know
I think
it's
we've
like five
written
years in
four.
vertical world.
I mean,
Yeah.
Chrissy directed
Um,
this one, but I was on set as producer, so I'll share one little moment.
okay.
Yep.
First of all, these actors were our dream. Like we've worked with Alyssa before. We love her so much.
Hmm.
Um, we I think we can say we thought of her for this role as we were
Yeah.
writing it.
Hmm.
So she was the perfect birdie. And then we were so lucky to find Eloise, what a star. And immediately we knew that they had amazing chemistry and she brought her whole self to the role that just made Vera even more exciting and dynamic. There was one moment in a bondage scene in the bedroom where beforehand Eloise had told Alyssa that she's very ticklish on her feet and and not to touch her feet. It was
Yes.
the scene where she's using a riding crop to kind of tease her.
Yeah.
And Alyssa, because she is such a genius actor, knew it would bring something really fun to the scene. And she immediately like tickled her feet. And then Eloise laughed and she like tapped her and she was like, no laughing. It was really a fun
Yeah.
moment that they added to the scene that wasn't scripted.
That's a great moment.
That's a good
And then
one. Yeah.
yeah.
I love Sorry.
I know.
Um, I no, no, that's a good one. Yeah, I don't know if I can top that one. I mean, they were just so incredible, and just like everything they brought was just like so much more than I can imagine or what we wrote. Um, I mean, I think the tension was just so it felt so organic and so palpable, and um I think like okay, like I don't know. I'm sure they added everything. They added a lot of things that just made it amazing. But
Mhm.
I would say that what surprised me mostly, like as a director, was directing the spanking scene on the stage, which is
Mhm.
actually one of our my favorite ones that we've written of the scenes. But I think the how they just fell into their dynamic as Dom and Sub was just it was just quite perfect. It was quite perfect, and the way that it shot, Vaughn is was our DP, and I mean everything was just it. The alchemy of all of that felt really good, but the tickle one was good. I don't know, did it make the final cut when Birdie says "Don't laugh"? I think we had it in like the first cut.
Yeah, I
I
think it did. I mean,
I
I
Okay,
think
saw it
it
in one
did.
of the iterations,
Yeah,
but
it did. It's
yeah.
just a little moment in it's kind of a montagey scene.
that's
But I'll add too because Chrissy is an amazing director. Like we co-wrote this together, but it was really her vision that led this story and um just from all of the crew that she brought on, the department heads, the casting, the costumes, like everything. Like she really created a beautiful, gorgeous, like very clear vision of what the story that allowed all of these creatives to just bring their own little nuances and talents to it.
That's amazing. And I know everything is rainbows and glitter and unicorns over there, but have you guys ever hit a point where you strongly disagreed on the direction of a character or some sort of line that you wanted to be, put into a
What?
story?
Us? No, never.
No, never. There
No, no,
wasn't, you never had to work through
no,
any
no.
disagreements?
I'm
yeah,
joking, of course. We're
yeah.
both very passionate, opinionated women. But yeah, I mean that happens regularly, not in a disrespectful way, but just in a we care so deeply about these stories way.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, generally our rule, and this is a very common rule with creative partnerships, is whoever feels the most strongly wins. If there's
Mm.
something that I feel really strongly about, and maybe I'm also directing the story, Chrissy will often be like, okay, here's my opinion. This is why I think this, but at the end of the day, and vice versa. And so we haven't ever gotten to a point with story where it's like not resolved in a matter of minutes or like just ruminating on it a little bit more.
Nice, yeah.
I would
Yeah.
No,
say, unless Chrissy
No,
disagrees.
no arm
no,
wrestling or
no. Um, I would say Kate is usually right.
we're just gonna
Not
get you a
true.
t-shirt. Kate is right.
That's
I live under the
that's not true. That's
desk.
not true. That's not true.
Uh, and did audiences respond to the moments that you expected, or were there surprises in what people have latched onto now that it's been out for a bit?
I don't I'll leave that to Chrissy. I don't know. We're just like I'm personally just so blown away. I'm both like blown away but also not surprised that people have resonated with it so much because we did. And like I said, like we put a lot of heart and soul in this and like this was really like Chrissy really led the way on this story because it really meant a lot to her
Mhm.
personally. I hope that's okay to say, but like and they all mean a lot to us, but like this was one where it's like yes, we get to tell this very authentic queer story that we had not been allowed to do before and we really wanted to get it right and yeah. And so I'm not surprised at all that the audience has resonated with that because I think that when you start from a script that way, that it just continues on. But as far as like key moments, I don't, it's all gravy to me. I'm just excited that everybody's excited about
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah, I mean, we wrote it without the expectation that, it would have a fan following. We just like we treat all of our stories like that. We treat it with like, okay, is this believable? Would you believe it? Would you feel this way? Do you buy their love? So we implemented all of those same rules to this story, but it is just so incredible and so humbling that people want to know their backstory. I'm like, I don't know their backstory. I'm kidding. We know
You're
some
like,
of
let
it,
me
but
let me check my
um,
notes.
but yeah, but they want to know what happens after or what happens in an alt universe. But I must say, I am really happy with how people took to the ending. And
Mhm.
I'm going to give Drama Shorts a shout out, Karina, if you are listening. This was her idea. I think we had wanted them to end. We originally wrote an iteration where Vera is in the play with Birdie.
Mm.
And I think our head of writer on Drama Shorts is just like, I think it would be a little bit more powerful if, she was just in the audience and like that is how they reconcile. And that moment was just so beautiful. And the way that the actors like Eloise showed up and the way that, what Alyssa brought to that end scene, it was just, I think all of us cried and felt something when we were shooting it. We were like, oh my gosh. So I think that's a big, powerful moment of how, people are like, I really love the ending, and just we left it open-ended and not so perfectly tied in a bow that happens in a lot of relationships and especially lesbian relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Somebody always dies in the lesbian relationship, so we're very happy that nobody died and that there is literally like could be a continuation because it was such a nice, it was more satisfactory that like okay, they were apart for this duration and then obviously she's supporting her in the audience and you assume that they're gonna reconcile obviously after that moment. And then I asked your cast to weigh in terms of questions for you. Eloise was a little bogged down wrapping on a project, but Alyssa's question was simple. She said, "When's the sequel?"
Alyssa, are you saying that you're gonna play Birdie
You're
again?
available?
All right.
I think they both are down. So, what can we do to make this happen?
I think it might happen. I mean, we had a conversation with the platform this morning, just planting a gentle seed,
Mm-hmm.
just seeing where they're at. I think they
They're
are
very
excited.
interested. Yeah, they're very interested. Uh, we just have to, you know, think of the story and slot it into our slate. But yeah, I think there is a potential. We've
Awesome.
been
We
really
will.
excited. What the fans can do is just keep tagging Drama Shorts. When is the
Yes.
sequel coming?
Yeah, yeah.
Because Drama Shorts loves to hear from the fans.
Perfect. Yeah, I was just gonna ask what can we do as fans? Obviously, continue watching, subscribing, all that good stuff. Talking loud on social media, and then hopefully, if enough of us do that, then it will come to us.
Yeah, we
And
think
then you
so.
guys have to let me know when you're filming, and I'm going to fly out there and come see you guys.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Yes.
I mean, maybe Vera and Birdie like go to the East Coast for a
Mhm.
holiday.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a holiday themed
Come to New York,
vertical.
come to Vermont, come
Yeah.
somewhere. We're fun over on this side,
Maybe they're on tour,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Broadway. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Giving you all the good ideas. And then obviously I do like to add my signature question into all of my interviews. So since you guys obviously know these characters very well, if you were to construct a donut based on Birdie and Vera's personalities, what kind of donuts would they be? What toppings would be on it? And if you want, you could each take a character or you could collectively come up with their flavors together.
Oh my
This
gosh.
is an awesome question. Oh my gosh. A
What do you
donut.
want to do, Chrissy? You want to pick one character or you want to do them together?
I mean, let's like riff. Let's
Okay.
show
All right.
the audience like how we work together in
Yeah.
our brainstorming
The secret
session.
sauce. Let's go.
Well, I feel like
Okay.
I feel like Vera is pretty easy, personally. She's from Minnesota,
Mhm.
which I'm from Minnesota. And we have the Minnesota State Fair, which is known for its crazy concoctions. So I
Hmm.
feel like her donut might be something along the lines of like um uh some kind of like donut sandwich or like deep fried Oreo dough constructed donut, something like that.
Mm, yeah, I think, well, yeah, Veroise, there, that's a new name. Eloise and Vera.
Yep.
Um, she represents youth and forward thinking. So I would say something along the lines of, yeah, something you would find like at a country state fair. I like that idea.
Hmm.
Maybe like a funnel cake fusion with a
Mm.
churro,
Booze so?
something trendy and something traditional. With I don't know what kind of topping. Something
Like
matcha
bacon
with a matcha
or
dust.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm into it. I'm into it.
Okay, Birdie. So
Mhm.
Birdie is
I feel like it's gluten free.
Oh no.
it's made with
Gluten free.
monk
Although
fruit sugar.
Gluten free. Yeah.
we've got some good gluten-free donuts
Gluten
out
free
here in Connecticut.
keto.
Yeah.
Tiny, tiny donut hole. Just a tiny amount.
Just a bite.
I mean, I
But
think
very classy. Almost like
yeah.
a faux nut, which is a
Mm.
LA based like gluten-free donut shop
Hmm.
that is like very delicious. But um
I feel like there's a cream filling somewhere, like like it's sure it's like very healthy on the outside, but inside it's naughty. I don't know.
That's perfect. I
salted
will take it.
caramel.
And zooming out, what kind of stories are you most excited to tell next, whether in this space or beyond?
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of stories coming out this year that we're really excited about. Um we have one that we wrapped a week and a half ago that's another very, very sexy BDSM themed
Mhm.
tale that we're excited about. And we have some coming of age romances
Mhm.
on the horizon. We'd love to tell more queer stories. Um, yeah, we've got lots of
Yeah.
exciting stuff.
Yeah, all that and yeah, I'm pretty excited about the one that we're going to shoot in May. Let's just say that we're going to try to achieve it. I don't know if it'll make the final cut. It will make the final cut, but we're trying to achieve some kind of orgasm on a motorcycle. Let's just say
Oh,
that. That's a little
okay.
teaser, little
Okay.
little crumb on
Headline.
that. Yeah, but that's going to be fun, and I think. Yeah, we'd love to tell just more non-traditional love stories. That would be great,
Mhm.
just kind of representing all types of love. Um, yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good thing. I guess just to kind of wind down, is there anything else that you think is important for the fans to know, or just in general when they're following you on this journey?
I mean, I think something fun that Chrissy and I always giggle about, and I hope that fans sometimes will pick up on it in the future, is we like to put little Easter eggs in a lot of our shows, whether we're referencing other shows that we've done or, we're referencing each other. Like for instance, Chrissy made Vera from Minnesota because
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I assume you did it because I'm from Minnesota. We'll
Yeah,
often name
definitely.
restaurants after each other and like
Oh,
things like that.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Did you
so
notice
yeah,
that I named the principal after
yeah,
Link?
my
Yeah, okay.
cat. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, it makes us laugh. And so that's just like a little bit of insight. Like if you're watching some of our shows and you're like, those names sound so familiar, it
you never
is.
know. Easter eggs. But yeah, I think
yeah.
those were a lot of the questions I had. Obviously, the fans have been sending great comments, DMs, all that good stuff. Just really excited to hear more from you. And then obviously waiting with bated breath to f find more about these characters and these stories. So I think if you have anything else, obviously this is a platform for you guys to say what you want, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I just add they can follow us on Instagram at Vertical Sunsets,
Hmm.
and we'll announce everything there.
All the
So
things.
if there's news to be shared about Vera and Birdie, it'll definitely be there.
Okay, we're gonna hold our breaths. Hopefully it happens sooner than later. I pride myself off of I only like will interview people or write stories about things I'm passionate about. So I've, been interviewing since I was 16, so I never wanted to work for somebody else. So I just created my own company and decided I want to just reach out to people that I care about and stories I care about. So if you guys need anything, definitely shoot me over a message because I'd be happy to help you with anything.
Thank
I
you so
love
much, Kristen.
that. And it
Yeah.
shows. You're such a
Thank
good
you.
interviewer.
I
You really are.
appreciate it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I do have a day job because that pays the bills, but obviously my passion is my media company. But so if you are in the East Coast, I run two med spas. So if you
Ooh.
need that facial, I have a magical esthetician named Diamond who will
I
be
mean,
amazing to you. So
we
Wait,
everywhere we go, we try
what
to.
what city do you live in again? All
So
right.
it's about a 50-minute train ride from New York City if you are coming from that direction. But yeah,
Nice.
definitely if you guys are ever in this neck of the woods, let me know because I will. My esthetician is amazing and she will give you guys a break.
Do or
Yay.
speak our
Okay. All
language.
right,
Yeah.
sold. We're
Yep.
there.
But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I appreciate it so much. And obviously you guys have lots to do, so I won't keep you any longer. But this has been amazing and I'm really excited truly to see what's next for all of the projects, but obviously my sexy mentor.
Thanks so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you. Have a great day, okay?
You
Too.
too.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.